it's something that I say in ad copy and on the free training as well. It's like I use 10% of everything that I learned, but that 10% I know it very well, and like it's very, very freaking helpful. But like 90% of the music theory I learned, I don't use it at all. Like I don't read any sheet music when I'm producing. I'm not like doing any 4-part string quartets or like doing a jazz big band score.
So what's up, guys? Today we got Bruce in here. He's a multi-instrumentalist, producer. What I've been seeing the most of is teacher, which is super dope. What did I miss? I know you're a man of many talents.
Songwriter, baby, 100%.
Songwriter, right. And I know you got a new song out, which is dope. But man, welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate that, man. I'm super stoked to be here, Gabe. Been following you guys for a while. Actually, it's funny because when I first got started with the whole ClickFunnels business, when Russell Brunson popped up on my newsfeed, like, almost 2.5 years ago now, I saw that one of the, hottest guys in the game for producers selling beats was you and Anno Domini. And so before you even heard of my name, I was already funnel hacking your stuff.
Nice.
And kind of copying what you were doing and learning from you. So it's really cool to be on here with you, man.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So what was that process like? So originally were you looking at selling beats? Did you always want to do what you're kind of doing now, which is more on the education side? What was your first goal with it when you started getting into the marketing and funnel stuff?
Dude, it's a little bit of a journey, man. When I first found it, when I first found Russell, it just opened the whole marketing world up to me, and ways that I can monetize my music, because music has always been the one thing that has been a constant in my life when everything else changes. And I know that was the same for you. I heard some of your stories that Russell basically blew up your whole world. And so that's kind of what happened to me. And in a nutshell, I first started, I was making beats a lot at that time. I was on BeatStars and I was trying to monetize my music selling beats. And then I ran into your ad. We made, 1.2 million each. And I was like, oh, that's a dope headline. Let me see what these guys got going on. Went to the webinar, purchased right away, literally on the webinar.
Nice.
And I started doing the thing. And, I had some success with it, nothing crazy. But, I always had this, ever since I was 19 years old, I got a teaching job. And I always thought I hated teaching. I was teaching trumpet, piano, basically anything to do with music and songwriting, and just kind of like I was teaching kids and teens and young adults. And I always thought I hated teaching because I didn't necessarily like going to work. But after, I guess a couple of years, I realized that what I hated was babysitting 6-year-olds who didn't want to practice piano. But teenagers and adults who actually had a passion for music, I felt those lessons. They were different. And I got to, dispense knowledge. And that was something that is still to this day. I love it. I get lit up about it. I absolutely love teaching. And so it took a couple of years for me to realize I like teaching. And long story short, when I started producing for Sync, I had to really get my production chops up. And I realized that a lot of producers aren't necessarily musicians. And so I'd see guys go live making beats and they'd be like tinkering around, like, I don't know what key I'm in, trying to find this melody. And I'm like, dude, like, I can help you, man. Like I do that. I'm a musician first. I'm a producer, but I'm a musician first. And so I always had this idea of putting out a course. And I don't know, it was, November of 2019. I just, something hit me, was like, man, you got to make this course now. And so I made it. It's called Piano for Producers. It's literally piano, advanced harmony, songwriting, modern production techniques, but tailored to music production and not necessarily, for release and Bach etudes and John Coltrane solos and stuff like that. Dude, it absolutely took off, man. We launched right when COVID hit in April of 2020. And like in the first, 90 days, we hit 100K. And then it was just, smooth sailing from there. And so
awesome,
that's pretty much what I thanks, man. That's pretty much what I do. That's how I sustain myself. And it's something that I love to do. Like I honestly love teaching. And sometimes we're on the coaching calls and They have a 90-minute limit. I have 2 coaching calls per week. And sometimes I look at the thing, I see it says 7:30. I'm like, I just want to keep rapping a little bit. Anybody got any more questions? You know?
For sure.
So it's something I love doing, man.
For sure, I can relate. I can relate. It is really fun to be teaching. Yeah, and I think that's really smart too, because like you said, so so much of like learning piano or whatever is you're learning jazz or classical, and these things where yes, probably if you get that foundation, it ultimately will help you as a producer. But people, if you're a producer, that's not, you don't necessarily need all of that, and there's other things that are probably going to help you more. In fact, my boy Nate that I've made beats with forever, he has a really strong jazz background, and he's amazing. He can play chords you've heard of, but I never heard, crazy. And was actually interesting when I first started working with him, was I kind of had to like help him unlearn some of that stuff, because we'd be making a beat, and he'd just start playing some crazy chords, and I'd be like, bro, like, no, like, you gotta simplify it, scale it back a little bit. And so I think sometimes it can almost be counterproductive to learn some of that traditional stuff. If you're trying to make a dope beat, like, you don't always need all that craziness in there. It's more about actually making every note count and keeping it simple for the most part, right? It depends on the style of the beat or whatever, but I think that's stuff that you're really focusing on. Okay, here's like what you need to learn and how to actually make dope beats with your keys, not how to play some crazy, classical thing or jazz thing. Or just,
You're doing this
like,
too jazz, bro. We're making hip hop.
exactly right. Scale it back a little bit, keep it simple, make every note count, make it sound dope. So yeah, I think that's great that you've got, you're teaching people from that perspective, because if you're a producer, yeah, maybe if you spent years learning that whole foundation and stuff and then unlearning it, like, that would be cool. But really, why not just start with the stuff that's actually going to be helpful? So I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, dude, like that's where I'm coming from with the whole thing, and it's something that I say in ad copy and on the free training as well. It's like I use 10% of everything that I learned, but that 10% I know it very well, and like it's very, very freaking helpful. But like 90% of the music theory I learned, I don't use it at all. Like I don't read any sheet music when I'm producing. I'm not like doing any 4-part string quartets or like doing a jazz big band score, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to make something that hits and that feels good.
Right.
And so, and that's what most producers are looking to do too. And so there's, when you kind of just 80-20 it and just focusing on that 20% that really moves the needle for you, so that you can take what's in here and put it on here without and for those who aren't watching the video, take what's in your mind and put it on the keys without like not knowing what key you're in, or guessing and stuff like that. It makes the whole process way more creative, a lot more fun, less frustrating. And that's what I'm all about, bro. Just given the stuff that you need, excluding the stuff you don't, without shortchanging you in the process.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I imagine the best way to teach this stuff is, on camera in front of a piano. Is there any gems or anything that you can drop, just for people who are listening, for producers, as far as keys and how to step it up or make it easier or anything like that?
Yeah, bro, absolutely. The best thing, yeah, the easiest way to teach it obviously is, having a piano and a visualizer and stuff like that, which we have in the program, obviously. But here, if you're just listening, man, I would say the number one thing that you want to get good at is being able to hear something and replicate it. So, for example, like we're talking right now, you're saying words, I'm saying words. We know what we're saying. I don't have to look up in the dictionary like the definitions of the words you're saying so that I can get the message. Like I just know the language you're speaking so I can get your message instantaneously. Same thing with music. The only difference is not words, it's sound. The language is sound. And so when I'm hearing a record, I know what the chords are in real time. I know what the melody is in real time. And yeah, maybe, there's some things that I would have to sit down and figure out. Just like if you used a big word that I don't know, I have to look it up in the dictionary. Kind of the same thing with music. Like somebody does a fast chord sequence or something, maybe I'll have to sit down and figure it out. But for the most part, I've, and a lot of the, professional cats that I hang out with, and that I really respect, like as music is happening in real time, we know what notes are being played. All we may have to do is figure out the key and we got it, And to other people, it's like magic. It's like wizardry. It's like, dude, he heard a song once and he can play it. It's like, well, yeah, that's a musician's job. You know
Right.
what I mean? It goes no further than that. And it's a certain skill set. So dude, what I would say, man, is the biggest. I can't necessarily teach it right here. If you do want some of those really, really quick wins, I do have a free training, pianoforproducers.com/masterclass, piano for the number 4 producers.com/masterclass. Absolutely in depth. It's not a whole sales pitch. Like I actually teach you on the class. So super beneficial. But if there is one thing, dude, as a producer that is really going to get you ahead of 90% of the producers out there, it's learning what's called the Roman numeral formula. And that is the most classical thing that I'll ever teach you. But it's basically how songs are built, you know? So go look up the Roman numeral formula, learn that like the back of your hand, and you will never have questions of how to make chord progressions and melodies in your beats ever again.
Damn. Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. That's awesome, man. Um, I'm looking at your masterclass here. It looks dope.
Thanks, bro.
Um, yeah, I like the way you set everything up. How are you getting traffic to that? What's your traffic strategy for that? You running ads,
Yeah.
content?
Yeah, I'm running Facebook and Instagram ads to it. Um, Dude, I think one of the biggest things that producers that I see a lot, you know, and especially with newer cats like who are running ads to their, you know, or just trying to drive traffic to their thing, to their beat store or to their funnel to buy their pack or whatever it is. It's like, check out my new pack. And it's, you know, nobody cares about your stuff. They just care about what's in it for them, you know. WIIFM, like always tune into that radio station whenever you're trying to talk to your customer. What's in it for me? And so I think a quick like kind of a quick thing that you can do whenever you're trying to write copy or to get people to take the action that you want them to take is to say you and to bring them into the conversation. So anywhere that you have I in your copy, see how you can either change that to you or we, because then it makes it about them and how you're serving them. So for
Right.
example, you know, in this class, like I'm not like, hey, I've got some cool chords for you. You know, it's more like, you struggle playing the chords in your head. I got this really cool system. You want to check it out? But just that little switch of asking like, do you have this problem? Well, there's a really cool solution for that. You want to check it out? It's free. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, you need my email? I got you. You know,
Right.
it's that simple. Just making that mental switch that it's not about you, it's about them and how you can help them. Easy. So yeah, I know I went on a tangent there, but basically I'm running
No, that's
Facebook
huge.
ads,
That's a
Facebook
gem right
ads to a
there.
landing page to the
No, that's a big
webinar.
gem right there. I think a lot of times, when we're selling our thing, if we're selling beats, we're selling loops, packs, kits, courses, whatever it is, we're so stuck in what that thing is. So then we start talking about ourselves, or we start talking about the product. Like, here's why this beat is so dope. Here's why this sample pack has, 500 megabytes of whatever. But it's like nobody really cares. What they care about, what's the result that they're going to get. So whenever you can
Dude,
put that in the copy of your ads, of your emails, your content that you're putting out, make it about them and the results you can get for them. And that's what's going to bring them in. Not because, oh, I spent, thousands of hours crafting that. Like, who cares? I really don't
nobody
care. That
cares.
that doesn't help me. What I want to know is, how does it help me? And if you tell me, well, it'll help you make better beats faster or whatever, then I'm like, oh, okay, I do want to do that. So cool. So no, I think that's super important.
Dude, I think that's one of the biggest things that I picked up from Russell, and then Dan Henry really solidified it in me. It's like there's two things to that. Number one that I got from Russell, it's like the feature and what's his name? Jim Edwards and Copywriting Secrets. That book is crazy good. If you don't have it, you need to get it right now and read the whole thing. But
Agreed.
like the feature versus the benefit, like you said, nobody cares that it's 500 gigabytes of whatever and that you spent thousands of hours crafting the perfect road sample. Like, how is it going to transform their life? That's what they care about. The benefit. What is it doing for them? It doesn't matter how many worksheets you have. What are they going to get from it? You know, and that's what you're selling. And then the thing that really solidified it for me was when Dan Henry said, you sell them the vehicle and then you sell them the path to get the vehicle. So you sell them the or I mean, the words can be a little interchangeable, but you have the vehicle first, especially in a webinar. You have the vehicle first, and then what allows them to ride the vehicle is your product, you know.
Mhm.
And so, for example, with you guys, I don't remember exactly what it is, but you know, the vehicle of not selling individual beats and not selling it on YouTube, but making it like a beat pack, and then somebody can buy it, you know, for a cheaper discounted price within a certain time frame after they get some 5 free beats. Um, and then the way to successfully do that is Producer Front Secrets or Midi Money, or you know, I know you guys changed your name, so whatever it is right
Yeah, no, you
now,
got it. You got it.
your product, you know. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's, you know, it's not theory, it's not jazz or classical theory, it's learning grips. Then I teach you a little bit about grips, and you're like, oh, that's dope. And I'm like, well, my Piano for Producers program is going to show you how to do grips and way more. That's what it's about. So when you're selling like your beat packs, or even if you're promoting like your new track or your new beat, whatever it is, it's not like um, you know, check out my new beat. It's like, do you like music that XYZ, you know, however it's a benefit for them? Well, I got the perfect, you know, beat pack for you, or I got the perfect new song for you. And then you just made it about them, and now they love you for that, you know?
Right. Right. And it's about the result, right? It's like almost even more importantly than the song, it's like, well, do what do they actually want? What does a rapper or singer want? I don't know. Well, they want to be able to quit their day job. They want to get
Boom.
respect from their, you know, friends and family. They want to, you know, they want to hang out in the studio, like whatever. Like, what are those things? What are those results? And then if you
Yeah.
can help them get those results, and then show that, hey, this thing that I have is the key to you getting those results, then it's like then they have to give you money, right? That's the whole thing. Then they're like, they're
Dude.
begging. Then it's like, yes, of course I need that. Like, damn, this beat pack, this course, this sample pack, whatever it is going to get me this result. Oh, well then, yeah, please tell me where, you know, take my money. Like, let's make it happen. It was, you know, we just did a webinar last night, and I always love to see that where I start teaching it, people be in the comments, take my money, because it's like, yes, I'm in. Like, I want that result. Just tell me what I need to do to get that result. And then it doesn't become about selling. You're no longer selling. You're not convincing somebody, hey, you should really get this. You're putting on the pressure, like, oh, I really think you should buy this. You should buy this now. Like, no, not at all. What you're doing is you're showing them the result that it will get for them, what it's going to mean for them. And then they're basically asking you to buy it. That's why I like, you know, to me, it's like, it's marketing over sales, because sales to me is a little bit more like, okay, how do I do that last bit of persuasion? But marketing is setting everything up in advance to where that person just can't wait to give you money, and then it's easy.
Absolutely. I'm in the same route, dude. Like, I like marketing way more than I like sales. And for a little bit, I was actually doing phone sales for the program. And man, I I hated my life because I was talking to people, and I felt like I was trying to convince them that this program is for them. And I'm like, I'm on the phone, and I'm like, dude, of everything you just told me, like, this is exactly what you need. But there's something about just like that atmosphere that is just not necessarily for me. And that whole thing, I don't like it as much. But marketing is different than that. It's not like this convincing thing. It's more like, let me bring you on this path so I can show you that this is the best thing for you. And I don't have
Right.
to convince you. You can make your own decision about it. But if I did my job correctly, you will realize, like, okay, this is that thing I need in my life, dude.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that came to mind that I wanted to say on that, because I feel especially as musicians, you know, creatives, we're not necessarily business people first, and a lot of us try to avoid it as long as we can until we can't anymore, and then we have to become business people. At least that's what it was like for me. And so I think one of the things, man, that you know, that really kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to find what the result is with your baby, because it's your baby. At least that was my experience, and I noticed that from other people too. Like, when it's your thing, it's a little bit harder to craft the perfect marketing angle because it's your thing and you know so much about it. But for somebody else's thing, you can easily see the benefit in the end result. And so I feel like a lot of producers have trouble with that. Just when I, like, sometimes I'm scrolling, I'll see somebody's ad, I read their copy, I go on their sales page to start reading it, and it's like all about them. and not necessarily about the result and the transformation. And I feel like one of the ways that you can really do that, it takes some thinking, but it's a very easy framework, is you ask, why is that important 7 times? And so if you're selling a beat pack, it's like, why is that important? Well, because rappers need beats. Why is that important? Well, because they don't have any beats and they need better beats. Well, why is that important? And then you just keep going down that whole thing, and then you end up where you started off, because you've been doing it for so long. You end up where you started off, because they want this full time. They don't want to have to go to a 9 to 5. They want to wake up and just rap all day long. And so that's kind of what you're selling when you're selling your beat pack. You're selling that result and that transformation. And that's a quick way, or not quick, because sometimes it does take some thought. But if you run it through that framework of why is that important, why is that important, why is that important, you're going to get to where you're going to find the answer. You're going to stumble upon it.
Definitely, that's a big key. And by the way, just to back up, I think we're in the same place as far as like sales and marketing. Like I'm not anti-sales, I respect people who that's their strength. It's just not as much mine. And I think
Absolutely.
when it's done the right way, it's not convincing. It's actually the same thing as what we're doing with our marketing, which is just showing them, hey, this is the thing that's going to help you if you want it. Cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the salespeople.
100.
Um, and hey, I've closed 5 figures before on a call, so I can sell too, but I'd rather market. It's really just not my strength.
Awesome, man.
Um, yeah, man. So what's next? What are you working on? What do you got coming out?
Dude, right now I'm kind of working on crafting, to be honest, I do want to make my webinar shorter. And so I've been focusing, a lot on that. I've been kind of just uploading a different one every couple of weeks and just kind of monitoring it. And then until I kind of hit that sweet spot where I really, really want to be at. But the next thing that I want to do, man, is I did last year. Actually, there's two things coming up. Last year I did a Soul Chronicles Midi pack competition, where people, I put a Midi pack together that's just like dripping in soul with piano, kind of like that neo soul vibe. And people bought it for $7, and they were entered into a competition where they won over $5,000 in prizes, and they got my course, absolutely free. And so we had, I think, like over 100 submissions that we went through, and some of the stuff was super dope, man. And
Nice.
so we made an event of it where we went live on Facebook, and the energy with it was absolutely crazy. So I'm definitely going to be doing that again this coming year. We opened the year with that last year. So thinking I want to make it a summer event next year. But a little bit closer with that, I'm gonna be having a live event, basically like a workshop for the holidays, of just like almost everything I teach in my program in one day, jam packed in one day. And
Dope.
if you love it, you will get to enter into the program on a discounted rate at the end of the day. So it's
Dope.
going to be kind of this virtual event where you're learning a lot. It's not this one day sales pitch. And if you like what you learn and you want to explore more, and you like my vibe and all that type of stuff, they can join. And so that's kind of that's the immediate thing coming up in December.
That's dope. And I assume you're gonna record that because that could be its own asset too. That day long
Absolutely.
workshop.
Dude,
That's
and that's something, I don't know if anybody here who's listening is a course creator or something like that, but I've done this before. I did a 2-day, I called it the Grips Live Boot Camp. I did a 2-day workshop, and at the end I did a pitch where people could join. It ended up being a $14,000 event. It was my first time doing it, so it was really cool. But what's even better is that everybody who was on there and joined became like superstars of the program. Like they were so lit up off that weekend that when they
nice.
came in, they just dove in, and they got so many results so quickly. And I took that, put it into a course, and added it as a bonus to my main program, and bumped up the price just a bit.
Dope, dope. Yeah, man. Everything can be an asset. Everything can be valuable, and that's of course if you are a teacher and a course creator, then it's a no brainer. But even if you are selling beats, you're selling packs, you're selling loops, the more you can show that the creation of it, the more you can show the behind the scenes, the more you can make people feel like they're involved with it, the more value that thing is going
Exactly.
to have. So if you took that concept and said, you know what, I'm about to put out a dope, let's say loop pack, right? Or beat pack, either one. And I'm going to say, hey, for this weekend, I'm actually going to put the final touches on everything, or I'm going to build the whole thing from scratch, whatever's realistic, right? And do that live and be like, hey, you can show up live for free, but here's what's going to be dope is everybody's going to be so invested. They're going to feel like they're a part of the creation of that thing, that they're going to be super excited to buy that. They're going to be, build that rapport and feel like they know you better. They're going to want to buy more stuff from you in the future. So you can always take these concepts. That's one of the things is like when you hear people talking about, maybe it's selling courses, you hear people talking about, doing anything with their business, always think about how can you make this work for you? Don't make it like, well, I sell beats, that shit doesn't work for me. Because for me, when I started out with we've been talking about Russell Brunson and the stuff that he teaches in marketing. I did have one example, which is Anno Domini, which was great to see, like, kind of, oh yeah, you can kind of apply some of this stuff. But other than that, that was about it. It was just me and him for a long time. And so it became, okay, as I'm reading these books, I'm attending these conferences, I'm taking these courses. Nobody's talking about selling beats. They're mostly talking about things like courses, or they're talking about how to sell supplements, or, all these different things, right?
Dude, let me interrupt you real
Yeah.
quick, just as a tangent. I told somebody one time, I'm like, man, I have this really cool concept for a book. It's called the Beat a Day Cookbook. And in my mind, it's like make a beat a day, and this is the recipe to do that. And somebody's like,
Nice.
because they don't know anything about beats or music, so they're like, I thought you meant like, conquer the day and be your best self. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, nobody knows about any music stuff, dude.
For sure. Trust me, I know all about that. But I guess maybe my point is always just be creative and just think about, not, oh well, they're talking about this, that probably won't work for me. Just think about, wait a second, how could I flip that concept and apply it to what I'm doing? Because that's the
Absolutely.
thing that's gonna, move. In fact, that was Russell asked me to speak at Funnel Hacking Live in 2020, right? So that was like my chance to, be on stage in front of 5,000 people, and it was wild. And I actually hit him up and I asked him, like, why did you pick me? Because at that point I really didn't know him that well. Now I've got a chance to know him. I wasn't somebody who was in his most expensive, like his inner circle or anything, which was usually if he's picking speakers that aren't celebrities like Tony Robbins or whatever. So I was like, why did you pick me? And what he said was, he teaches all these concepts. He teaches all, a lot of the stuff that you and I have been talking about and that I talk about all the time, whether if it's putting together a true offer, or, having one call to action at each step, or, giving value before you get, whatever, all these different concepts, right? And he's like, yeah, I always teach these things. And a lot of times it's the same type of people that use it for the same types of businesses. But what he loved about what I had done was take those concepts, and instead of saying, this doesn't work for me, was actually saying, well, how can I make it work for me? How can I make this work for selling beats? Like, this doesn't exactly fit, but can I take that broader strategy and the principles behind why that works, and then apply that to here? And then maybe I got to tweak the tactics, the actual step by step a little bit, but I can make it work. And that's what has opened up all of these, opportunities now for me over on that side. And so I guess it's just emphasizing even more that point of just think, how can I make this work for me? What's something, you might be at a store somewhere and you see they got some kind of sale, and be like, oh, okay, these guys are selling, toys or whatever, but the way they did that is kind of dope. I could do a beat sale that way, or, you know what I mean? Just be creative. Just find that inspiration in different places.
Dude, absolutely. That's so key, man. Like, and as you're talking, I'm thinking of a bunch of ways that I had to kind of wreck my brain to think about, okay, this guy does it like that, and I know that I need to have that kind of formula in my thing, but it's not a perfect parallel, but I know there's some way to make it work. And as a matter of fact, that 2-day boot camp that we did, I attended one of Dan Henry's boot camps. I literally stole the name. And I forget what he called it. Oh, it was Digital Millionaire Boot Camp. And so I attended it, and I was one of his students. It was really, really awesome. And I was like, man, how can I do this for my people? And so I did it. I just kind of, I took some of the stuff that he did. I noticed he had a host, so I hired a host. I noticed that, he had kind of the lunches scheduled, and he had his whole curriculum scheduled. So I made an itinerary, and I scheduled the things that I was going to teach. And I noticed, I didn't know that he was going to pitch. I should have known, but I didn't know that he was going to pitch in the second day. And in the second day, he was teaching the book funnel. And he was absolutely smashing it, dude. Like, he was really into it. Everybody was having a bunch of aha moments. And then he was like, if you want to join my mastermind, boom, boom, boom. And then he went into that pitch. And I was like super bought in. But my partner and I were on the same page. But if we were, I would have joined, because I'm a sucker for good sales pitches. But I was like, man, I can do that same exact thing. And so I went and I crafted my own thing. I crafted my own event. And when it came to the pitch, I was like, what can I teach here that's going to segue into it? And I was like, got it. All I'm going to do is add a bonus for the TV, film, and sync stuff. And I'll teach kind of like an overview of the sync industry, because producers don't know a lot about it if they're not into it. And then what I'll just segue that right into the pitch. So I'm like, if you want these custom opportunities, if you want to wake up to a flood of emails saying, hey, you know, I got a sync opportunity for you that's $3,000. All you have to do is make it in 24 hours and just kind of formulate that pitch. Boom, boom, boom. Sold the course, added that as a bonus. I didn't even make it yet. And again, $14,000 event. And then boom, selling something before you even made it. But back to the point of taking what somebody else is doing in a different niche, and it's obviously working, seeing how you can apply that to your own thing is the way to do it. You just have to figure it out for your own self.
Definitely, definitely, it's the key. It's basically everything that I've done in Legion Beats and Midi Money has been, it's been that process, just seeing what other people are doing and then tweaking it. So super, super important. I'm taking a look at your social media. I like what you have on here. I like this dope one where it's you playing trumpet. You've got a little, you know, it says producer sample this. Super clever. Is that something that you've seen somebody else do, or where'd you get the idea for that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So you know, in kind of going this more music route again lately and releasing some original stuff, I wanted to kind of build my Instagram audience. And so, you know, just so I can have a crowd of people to push it to, and people who would be interested in my thing. And so I just spent some time and I thought about what are the things that, you know, yes, I'm a producer, and I think I forgot who it was, man, on here. I think it was Robin. Man, I don't remember who it was. It was on, you had him on here the other day, and I saw a
Oh,
snippet on your
was it Robin
Instagram.
Marks on the podcast?
No, I don't think it was Robin Mark, the TikTok guy. What's his name?
Yeah, Robin Marks.
That's Robin?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. It was Robin, and
My guy Robin. Shout out to Robin Marks.
shout out to Robin. This quote, ever since you said it, bro, I've never forgotten it. He's like, I got hot beats, you got hot beats, everybody got hot beats. What makes you different? And I'm like, dude, for real. And it's the same thing with marketing, but with music, like what makes you different? And so I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, what makes me different as far as a music producer? And I'm like, well, there's not a lot of music producers that play trumpet. So let me highlight that. And I knew that Instagram is pushing reels now. And if people remix your reel, it gets pushed to a wider audience. So
Right.
basically, I just played this melody that I borrowed very heavily from Biggie's Hypnotize, or Big Papa, one of the two. If you listen to the synth line and you listen to that melody, they're very similar. And I knew that was going to stick with people because it's already a proven melody. I just made it a little bit different. And and basically I said, sample this. In the description, I instructed them to download the audio and remix the reel. And so with the hopes of like, um, you know, people are going to remix it. The more it's remixed, the more Instagram pushes it to people. Long story short, it blew up. It has like 1.2 million views now. And that single
Wow.
post has gotten me like 10K followers.
No
So
shit.
that's
Bro, that's
10K
amazing.
people that I can now say, hey, do you like music like XYZ? I got you with my new release. And for me, it's, do you
Right.
like musical hip hop? Boom. And so I just make a couple ads there, and frame it as a benefit to them. It's going to be a great experience for you when you listen to it, and boom, boom, boom. So taking the same marketing principles, but just into a different medium.
That's dope. So how does as far as some of the technical part of it, because I'm looking at the post right there, it says download the audio, remix the reel, and tag me in the post. So how does that technically work? Like, how does it get tied back to that? If they're just downloading the audio off of somewhere, how does it get tied back to that
Yeah,
reel?
absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So so you need to download the audio so that you can put it in your DAW and do your thing with it.
Okay,
So what
right,
I instructed people to do was either like get a third party tool and rip the video from IG, and you extract the audio from there,
right.
or just screen record it and then put that into your DAW. And so they can either do one of those two things. And then once they make their beat, they can re-upload and like just remix the reel. And so many people did it in ways that honestly, I don't even know, because I'm not super tech savvy,
Got
but
you.
people liked it enough to want to share it and to want to figure out how to remix the reel if they didn't know
I see
already.
it. I see it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I got it pulled up on my phone right now. So if you go to that post, there's the little three dots on the top right hand corner. You click on that, and then it says remix this reel. And so that's how they're
Boom.
able to do that little side to side thing.
Exactly.
And then that's how it gets tied back to that post, I assume. And that's how it got whatever those numbers were that you mentioned.
If you
Where,
look
where,
in my mentions, you'll see not everybody, but everybody who's uploaded and mentioned me. And you'll see like the same video a bunch of different times. And it's a and so the thing about this also that I forgot to mention is that I know that people who like my music are going to be music lovers. They're going to be like, probably the people who like my music are going to be creators of music and not necessarily just a layperson. The layperson who would like my music would be somebody who really appreciates music and not just like just listens to Justin Bieber and that's it. And so that's important because it's defining that avatar. So I'm targeting producers. Producers are going to remix that. They're going to follow my page. And then I'm going to send them, I'm going to be like, yo, check out my new single. They're going to listen to that. And because they make music, my music is very musical. They're going to dig it. So it's like I'm attracting that person. I'm bringing them into my world and they don't even know that it's all a strategy. So that I'm like, hey, listen to my shit, you
smart.
know?
No,
And
that's
so,
smart.
yeah,
And
but it's
already
all love.
I'm doing what we are just talking. I'm just thinking about, okay, how could I do this? And I'm thinking like, okay, for selling beats, bam, you post up a beat as a reel, and then you just literally say, hey, rappers put 4 bars, 8 bars, whatever on this, remix this reel. I would give them the directions a little bit more clear in case they don't know. Hit the little three
Yeah.
dots, do the little thing. We're doing a little contest. Whoever has the best 4 bars or 8 bars in the next week is going to win a beat pack or something like that. Bam, that brings in a bunch of engagement. Maybe
Boom.
the beat pack they win is the one that we happen to be promoting at the moment. That's a
There
gem
you
right there.
go.
That's a
You're
strategy I'm
welcome,
about to
bro.
try. I
I'll take
appreciate it.
20% off the top. I'm playing.
Of course,
No, but
checks in the
dude, that's
mail.
that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing with somebody else. I'm kind of partnering with this other platform. I can't say any names or give too many details because we're just starting out and it hasn't really officially hit just yet. But I'm partnering with somebody else who has a very, very, very big platform. And we're basically going to be doing that. We're going to be instructing artists to remix, this sound with their vocals on top, and then, take it to the moon from there.
Dope.
So yeah, and dude, you can absolutely do the same thing. Everything you just said is absolute gold.
Love it, love it. Well, man, I think we brought the gems. Before we wrap up here, anything else you want to let people know about that you got coming up? Where to find you? Anything else you want to end this thing on?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, if you guys are feeling my vibe and you kind of want to learn a little bit more about, piano and kind of get your skill set up for production and not necessarily with all the BS, all you need to do is check out piano for the number four producers.com/masterclass. And you can attend my free training. I actually teach you. It's very dope, very informative. And you'll get a special discount on my course if you decide to join after watching the training. And if you want to hear some of my music, it's very, musical hip hop. So if you like, musicality with your hip hop, you're really going to love my stuff. Just check me out, Bruce Beats on Spotify. And I hope you enjoy it.
Bruce, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, brother.